Okay, I think we are good to go. Good morning and afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're super excited to share with you our new and improved BeSmartee product line, pre-ICE experience later this month. Leading the presentation today is our founder and CEO, Tim Nguyen. So I'll go ahead and hand it over to Tim.
Thanks, Sabrina. All right. Well, first off, thank you everyone for joining. So over the last 12 months, we've been working hard internally at BeSmartee to revamp our product line. As you can see, we have a new logo. And we're going to walk you through a live demonstration of the new product lines. If we can go to the next screen, please, Sabrina. Well, first and foremost, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to all our vendor partners at BeSmartee. Many of you I know personally. Many of you I remember chasing down to integrate when BeSmartee was just an idea. You know, our vendor partners have been very core to what BeSmartee does from the very beginning. You know, I remember talking to many of you on the phone, pitching the idea of BeSmartee, how we're going to change the mortgage game. And many of y'all listened and you gave us a chance, and we worked together very hard to deliver something we think is pretty special. So for that, I want to thank everyone for being part of that BeSmartee journey with us. So what we're going to do today, we're going to probably take the full hour. We're definitely going to leave about 5 to 10 minutes at the end for questions. We're going to spend about 5 minutes here to go through the BeSmartee deck, and then we're going to jump right into Bright Connect, where we'll talk about the value of a digital business card, how to streamline agent referrals, enhance communication, and mobile loan officer tools. And then the second half of the demonstration, we're going to go ahead and show you a brand new Bright POS. That's our mortgage POS, what many of y'all used to know as Smart Mortgage. First and foremost, as everyone knows on this call here today, we're very much a core values-driven organization. Through your interactions with our company every single day, I hope you see that those 4 core values are ringing true. Long term, what we call our big, hairy, audacious goal, or BHAG, is to get to a 7-day mortgage close consistently across 60% of all volumes across the industry. That obviously cannot happen without our valuable vendor partners on the call today. That's something we'll be reaching out to. We'll be working together and really sharing that vision in more detail as we march towards that goal over the years and years to come. So, you know, 2023 was a tough year for all of us in the mortgage space, arguably probably worse than 2022. 2024, we're hopeful, but at BeSmartee, you have a great partner here. We're still doing well. We still are processing right about 90,000 applications per month. We're still integrated with about 165 vendor partners in our ecosystem. And, you know, we deliver about 247,000 third-party services to our partners every single month. That includes credit, verifications, appraisal orders. This number, however, does not include the indirect services. For example, if you're an MI company, we're not placing an order directly, but we are quoting your price and your eligibility to consumers and to end users at the lender's office. So we hope to keep on adding logos, keep on growing this year, and adding more value to the entire mortgage ecosystem. I wanted to start just on talk about a little brief history of mortgage point of sale. It all started not with BeSmartee. It all started with MortgageBot. If you remember, it was an organization, department really, that was spun off by a bank. And Scott and Sue over there did a fantastic job. They carved out a niche. They own 90% of that niche in the FI, you know, the community bank space. So MortgageBot was the original grandfather of it all. It was the founder of the mortgage point of sale. If you remember, Expedia was 1996. So in that late 90s period, there was a lot of innovation. Things were going online, and MortgageBot was first. So without them, we probably wouldn't be here. So big thanks for MortgageBot and what they did over there. After that, you know, BeSmartee was founded as an idea in 2007. We tried to get the product off the ground, couldn't do it. We were trying to raise capital right at the cusp of the mortgage crisis. So we put that dream on hold, but we did everything but build the software. In 2011, Simple Nexus onboarded the first loan officers. In 2012, Rusify and Blend were heavily backed by venture capital, and they entered the mortgage space. Probably, I don't want to say for the first time, but for the first significant time, to enter the mortgage space. 2015, if we all remember, the big Super Bowl ad in February of 2016. Well, Rocket Mortgage actually went live towards the end of 2015. And a few months thereafter, and what's really important, by the way, of Rocket Mortgage is they set a new direction. I can tell you personally, I remember talking to both vendors and clients and lenders, about this idea we had, something we were working on called the BeSmartee platform. And people really didn't get it entirely. It wasn't until that Rocket Mortgage ad went live in the Super Bowl of 2016 where people started calling back and say, hey, I understand what you're talking about. I understand what you're trying to do. And that really, what Rocket did was really kind of launch us into a digitization of the mortgage space, a race to do that. And unlike other trends in mortgage, it didn't last just a year. It lasted for multiple years. In 2016, BeSmartee went live with its first applications being processed. In 2020, COVID, as bad as it was for the world, at least for online digital growth, it amplified the growth that we saw, especially in mortgage. This is when so many mortgage companies flocked to deliver products online, services online. Many of y'all were affected as well, probably for the positive in terms of, growth of your existing businesses and current businesses. So really the big question here is, where do we go from here? So that's what today is all about. So in 2024, we are launching at the ICE show. If we can go to the next slide, please, Sabrina. In 2024, we are going to be launching what used to take 3 vendors to provide. All right, so you would go to BeSmartee for automation of data and processes. You would go to another vendor if you wanted a superior consumer experience. You would go to a third vendor if you wanted a native mobile app. So come March 18th at the ICE conference in Las Vegas, hope to see you all there. We're going to be launching what I call the trifecta. We're going to be able to marry the best of breed onto one vendor. We call that platform Bright. That's our mortgage point of sale. And we call our native mobile app Bright Connect. So why is that important? So the way that's going to change things, at least for BeSmartee, is the following. If we can go to the next slide, please. Is, first and foremost is there's a lot of innovation going on. So what we do today doesn't go away. What we're adding is we've lifted that consumer experience and we're adding that native mobile app suite into a whole ecosystem of best of breed value propositions that we can offer out to the lending space. The first and foremost is it's going to be a prescribed best practice based on the particular tech stack that our mortgage customers are on. So if you're on Encompass, if you're on Lending QB, if you're on these other tech stacks, if you're on SnapDocs, right? Depending on what your tech stack is, ideally, we're going to be prescribing best practices. And what that means is we're going to be able to provide a true subscription-based pricing model to our clients. And the reason why this is important is with a true subscription-based pricing model, it lowers the cost per close for our mortgage lending clients, right? So you've heard of numbers probably anywhere from $50 to $80, maybe sometimes even $100 per close. We're going to be able to lower that price point by prescribing best practices. This also means that we're going to allow for widespread adoption by FIs. These are the financial institutions. Typically, we look at them as sub $5 billion in assets, whether a credit union or a bank. This is the last cohort in the lending space on the adoption growth curve, right? Usually you start with brokers, then you go to IMBs and you work with the larger banks, and then the community FIs and the community banks are last on the adoption curve, right? So by lowering that price point, by having a prescribed out-of-the-box model, we're going to be able to help get widespread adoption. What used to cost X is now much less than X. What used to take, time to implement is a lot shorter. This also means that you guys as vendor partners are going to be really important to us because we're going to be referring vendors to you. We're not going to be selling a product alone and ask people, how would you like it? We're going to be selling a product with an outcome. We're going to say, if you want this outcome, if you want this ROI, these are the vendors that you want to work with. These are the partners you want to get into bed with, right? This is how we're going to configure the system to you, or for you, excuse me. This also means that we've expanded our APIs, allowing vendors to self-integrate. More recently, we've had both a loan origination system and a CRM integrate into BeSmartee. We'll be there with you every step of the way. If you're interested in integrating, our APIs will be available so you can self-integrate. You don't have to wait for BeSmartee to do that work. And of course, we'll be there to help you support you with patterns and different API endpoints so you can do that work more effectively. And lastly, I kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier, is in order to get this widespread adoption, right, to really help digitize the mortgage space at scale, we have to reduce our implementation timelines. And what we found recently is we've been able to reduce it by about 75%. What used to take, many, many months takes right about a month to a month and a half now. And we're working on getting that speed and time even faster. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and start sharing, and we're going to go ahead and jump right into Bright Connect, the native mobile app. So what you're seeing is the native mobile app. Move this window here. Okay. So what you're seeing here is Bright Connect, our native mobile app. It serves 3 different personas. We're going to start off with the loan officer, then we're going to move on to the real estate agent, and then we're going to move on to the borrower experience. So this is something that we started towards the beginning of last year. It took us a good full year to, actually a little bit more than a year, to get to where we're at today. And this is something you'll be able to see in your hands, at the ICE show if you guys are attending ICE. And if you are, please stop by our booth 501. So fictitious lending client here at BSM Bank. So as an originator, I can log in using my same credentials that I logged to BeSmartee today. And the loan officer will be greeted by their homepage, allowing them to do the most important activities throughout the day, which is build their network and solicit business and develop relationships. They can go ahead and invite their real estate agent to their network simply by keying the real estate agent's information, previewing the message, and clicking send. And just like that, loan officers are going to be able to invite real estate agents into their world. And of course, they can do the same with borrowers as well. Likewise, if they have a borrower that's standing in front of them and they're ready to apply, they can just scan the QR code and just apply directly with that particular loan officer. In this case, I'm wearing my Theodora hat on. The second most important thing for the originators out in the road is they can check their pipelines and stay connected to their pipeline and help facilitate that closing, provide a better service to their consumers. First, any invitations that are sent will start off in the leads. Once those invitations convert into a loan, it'll move over to the loan side. And as you notice here, they can search and filter their loan pipeline. They can look, up and down the different applications that they have in process. All this is connected to the BeSmartee web app. It's all connected to the loan origination system. So it's all going to be seamless. It's all going to be the same information, really offering an omni-channel experience, no matter if you're working in the office or driving to a client's house. The next thing you can do is you can dive into a particular loan application, and you can get all your important summary data. If anything's updated in the LOS or the BeSmartee web app, it's also going to be updated here. If a consumer takes actions, also going to be updated here. So we started off with a quick way for them to know who their borrowers are and make contact with their borrowers. Loan conditions, to-dos for the consumer and the loan officers will all be here. Anything that's been satisfied, they can go ahead and click on to view. If they need to, dig into information, answer questions when we're out on the road, double check uploads. They can do that all remotely on their phone now. Likewise, they can generate a pre-qualification letter on the fly. They don't have to be in front of the office. They don't have to have Microsoft Word. They don't have to be in the LOS. They can just create new, set a purchase price and loan amount, click create new letter, and it's done. And they can share that with the transaction coordinator, the selling agent, the listing agent, the buying agent, the borrowers, whoever they need to. It'll also be available for the borrowers digitally online, and also for the real estate agents remotely, on their mobile app as well. Likewise, they'll have read access only to credit, so they can answer questions and dig into information. They also have the same read-only access to automated underwriting, where we support both singular AUS and also dual AUS as well. Now, one thing I want to make a note here is there's a lot of power in the command center that many of y'all have seen before. You can reissue credit, you can run, register and lock loans, all those type of features, they're slowly getting ported over into the mobile app. They're not all going to be there on day one, but rest assured, this is a big commitment we have for the future of our company. So we're going to be porting over those features that we built with you and start making them available inside the mobile app as well. The third most important thing for originators out in the field is product and pricing. So this will be connected to live product and pricing, whether you're integrated with OB or Poly, lending QB system, right? We're integrated about 6 or 7 of those. That'll be all available, and it'll be available to the originators when they search online. So if I search, it's going to fail the first time. We just kind of have it forced to fail to kind of show you what it looks like if no products are absolutely found. Otherwise, if you modify those parameters, you search again, we're going to bring back both ineligible products, and we're also going to bring back eligible products. And when you click on an eligible product, you can compare the different rate point combinations. You can dig into a particular rate point combination where you have the PITI information, you have loan estimate quality fees, thanks to some of our great partners such as Lodestar. You'll have access to loan level price adjusters. This will allow the originators to make sure they're really looking at the right product, that the margins are correct, their compensation is correct. And of course, cash to close calculations and also an amortization schedule. Point is, it's all the information they need in order to have an intelligent conversation and move the deal forward when they're interacting with their borrowers on a day-to-day basis, whether in the office or in this case, they're remote. They can also then choose up to 5 different products and compare that or email that to the borrower, notify the borrower so that they could have, hey, we're talking about X, Y, and Z. Well, let me actually show you. And they simply key in the borrower's information, click the fields that they want them to see, verify the message. And just like that, they've notified the borrower, provided a loan comparison. So I'm going to go ahead and skip notifications, and I'm going to go ahead and skip the My Account settings. Those are pretty straightforward, where they can modify their account settings, subscribe to different notifications, change their passwords, and so forth. So if you remember earlier, right, I was wearing my loan officer hat, and I invited my real estate agent referral partner into my world. Well, what does that experience look like? Real estate agent will receive a notification, email, and or text. They'll go and install it from the Android or Apple store. And since this is the first time they're engaged, they're going to go ahead and click create account. They're going to specify that they're real estate agent, key in their information, key in their personal information here. They're going to receive an email with a one-time password. They're going to key that in. And just like that, they've downloaded the app and they've registered onto that app. Now that digital business card is sitting in the palms of their hands or in their purse. So we encourage them to do 2 things. These steps could always be done by the back office of the lender for more of a white glove experience. But this is one of the differentiators with this app versus what's on the market today is those real estate agents, they can self-serve. They don't have to wait for it to be set up. So they can go here, they can upload their headshot. They can upload their company's logo. They can set different URLs that might matter to them, redfin.com, experience.com, and then they can save that and that'll set up their profile. 99% of the time, a real estate agent would have only downloaded this app because they were invited by a loan officer. In those cases, the loan officer will already be added to the real estate agent's profile. In this particular case, we're just showing you what it looks like if that real estate agent went to that app store, download the app, and we don't know who that real estate or that loan officer is. It'll be super easy for them. They can search for different originators at the organization. In this case, we're going to add both Theodora and Theodore. And just like that, I've added my favorite loan officers at BSM Bank, who I send business to. Speaking of which, that's the most important thing that we all want as loan officers, right? Referrals from trusted real estate agent partners. So the way that works is I just click on Theodora's profile, and I can send my buyer as a real estate agent to my favorite loan officer at BSM Bank by keying in my buyer's information, previewing the message, and clicking send link. And just like that, my buyer will receive a notification. And we'll talk about what that looks like here in about 5 minutes. Likewise, if my buyer wants to apply right then and there, maybe it's an hour before the open house, well, they can just apply right then and there as well. If I go back, I can go back to the pipeline. So as a real estate agent, I'm going to be referring business over to my favorite loan officers. And what we found is real estate agents will actually use this as a mini CRM. It's convenient for them to archive all of their prospective buyers in one convenient place. So they'll do that here, and they can dive into their pipelines, go up and down and dig into that information, or they can dig into the leads in this particular case. So if I dig into Annie and Amy Maker, whom I, as a real estate agent, referred over to my favorite loan officer, I'm going to have a chance to make contact with them. I can check the summary information. I could even self-generate my own pre-qualification letter with a ceiling. So in this case, I can't go over 750 on a purchase price. I can't go over 350 on the loan amount unless the loan officer increases that threshold. I can just create a letter, and I can do that 100 times if I wanted to. And then I can make that available to my transaction coordinator, to the listing agent, et cetera, and move that deal forward and not have to wait on my loan officer. And if I have an issue, I just click on Theodora's picture. I can make contact with Theodora. I can send additional buyers to Theodora. And that's the pipeline functionality. Likewise, I also, as a real estate agent, have access to a mortgage calculator. We're starting with one calculator today, but we'll be adding more. This is definitely one of the most popular calculators. What are those payments going to be? They can key in their scenario and get a convenient calculation anytime, anywhere. I'm going to go ahead and skip the notifications and also skip the manage account settings. Again, very standard stuff here. So if you remember, me as a real estate agent, I referred my buyer to the originator. So that borrower has two things that they can do. They can either apply right then and there, or they can download the app and apply later. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and apply right then and there. So when we receive that notification, they click on that link, they're going to be taken to I hope you guys notice is a brand new look and feel. It's been lifted. It could be configured to match the lender's brand. The URLs will be masked as well. And they can get started this case with this, BSM Bank. So we're gonna go through this. What we're gonna see is we're gonna start an application, and we're going to approve loan options in about 10 to 12 minutes. So I'm gonna do the most famous home buyer in the world, Alice Firstheimer. And go ahead and create my account. Oops. Go ahead and fix that. So I'm going to go ahead and create my secure account. And we're going to go ahead and today, I'm going to be welcome my loan officer, a very important step in the process because we want to build that human connection. We didn't have that at one point in our history. And what happened was there was no human connection, which means conversion was low. When we added these touch points with the human interaction, conversion was lifted. We're going to go ahead and do a purchase today. We're going to indicate that we're a single applicant. We could certainly add different co-borrower pairs. BeSmartee has no limit to the co-borrower pairs that we support. So for instance, if I want to add, mom or dad to help me, co-sign and be on this loan to help me as a first-time home buyer, I could just add their information here. And they'll have a separate experience because of PII, issues. They'll provide the experience. We'll merge those applications together, then get all that information to the loan origination system in one fell swoop. This is where we start collecting some personal information. I have to say, as first timers, credit score must be very bad. And we're going to go ahead and key in our primary address. If you notice by putting 5 here, the former address goes away. If I indicated I was just doing one address, we're going to go ahead and ask for that data, but always at the minimal amount of data required. I can always do a full property address, but in this case, we're going to do a TBD by indicating that this is a single family residence. And answer the other questions here. And as many of y'all know, 100% of the verbiage is configurable for legal compliance and marketing purposes. But we think we did a pretty darn good job with revising the verbiage so that, most lenders today are just accepting that verbiage out of the box. This is one of our integrations with our partners at MasterCard for Finicity. What you also didn't see was credit being run in the background. We're integrated with every single credit vendor provided or approved, by Fannie Mae. In this case, let's go ahead and import our bank accounts through the Finicity integration. And use our super secure credentials here. And import not only bank accounts, but other types of assets at the institution as well. So I can go back and keep on importing, or I can proceed. If I proceed and I want to change my mind, I can always import it later. But the more we can get our consumers in this new world and age to import it now, that means that data integrity is there from the very beginning. We can give better AUS approvals. We can give them a better, faster experience, and loans will close faster as a result. So here, very important that the loan officer comes back to keep you engaged. Granted, we only spent maybe 4 or 5 minutes on it, but consumers' attention spans are short nowadays, right? Look at all the tools that we use every single day. So we want to bring them back in the picture, keep them engaged. So notice a pre-population. This comes from different sources. For some, we don't recommend this out of the box because of the cost, but some of our clients will actually run verification of income employment with our partners at Equifax, the Work Number, and our soon-to-be partners that we're going live with at True. They're amazing partners. And when we do that, that information will be pre-populated, so people have to key in employment information. In this particular case, I'm going to go ahead and key that employment information in here. So whenever I go through these demonstrations, I always, as a young man, I wanted to be a record producer. Didn't happen, unfortunately, but I was dreaming about it still. So I'm going to pretend I am making royalty payments for my hit song. I could always key in a real estate owned, but in this particular case, we are a single, or a first-time home buyer. Notice that the assets are imported in not just bank accounts, but also the retirement accounts as well. I can easily add additional assets simply by keying it in. And we make that super simple here. The liabilities are imported in by the credit report agencies. If this was a refinance, you would have a checkbox where you can say, I want to pay this off at closing. And of course, you can always add additional liabilities, such as, the following types: alimony, childcare, etc. Gifts and grants, unfortunately, as a young person nowadays, you sometimes need a little bit of help from mom and dad. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Notice the pre-population declarations using data previously collected from various sources, including consumer input, their credit report, other data sources we have access to. We've now made the home education and counseling part of BASE. Oops. And the language reference is now part of BASE as well. And good old Hamda, unfortunately, nothing we could do there. Just got to have to answer the questions. So then finally, the verify, this is where the consumer can verify their application. They can go back. It won't break any data. They can fix that data. They can click on the pencil icon to fix data. They can review their credit score, their LTV, and they can go ahead and submit their loan application. So in about 8 to 10 minutes, that's how long it takes for a typical consumer to provide a 1003. And this is where things get really cool. And many of you all have seen it before, but we're going to move this data into the loan origination system. We're going to run product and pricing. We're going to choose the best match. We're going to run dual AUS. We're essentially going to do everything it takes to get the consumer an approved option. So while this goes through, I just want to give a big shout out to our LOS partners out there. Those include, the likes of Constellation, Fiserv, Encompass, Meridian Link. So big thanks to y'all. I know you guys have supported us throughout the years. We much appreciate it. Of course, Fannie and Freddie, where we're integrated with GS, with the automated underwriting systems as well. And of course, all the product and pricing engines like Optimal Blue, like a Lending QB, like a Poly, like a Lender Price. All great partners of ours that we love working with. So the loan officer again comes back and introduces himself to me. Congrats. And then now what I'm looking at is real approved loan options. I could do this at 2 a.m. in the morning and I can dig through different options. Maybe I want a 15-year loan. Let's take a look at the 15-year loans. Or maybe I am going to go with a 30-year loan that was recommended to me. Let's click on that and see what that looks like. 6.875. Considering we're at 7-8%, 4 or 5 months ago, this doesn't actually look too bad. Notice how the PITI information is all available. This is loan estimate calling fees, which means the APR is reportable. This is something that can go right onto the loan estimate and the initial disclosures. Amortization schedule. Admittedly, I think we forgot to turn on the cash at close, but that'll be turned on. So all the information here is required for the consumer to really make a decision. And if they can't make a decision, they can go ahead and just chat with their proprietary loan officer or with their loan officer using their proprietary chat system. And they can literally chat back and forth. So one thing I do want to call out, if I choose this product here, this is a conditionally approved product. What many of y'all have seen before in the past is we had lights out disclosures after this step with our great partners at companies like IDS, at DocMagic, and soon to be Docatech. We've omitted that for our base implementation because we need to get clients live in 30 to 45 days. It's still an available product line. It's just not part of the quick implementation that we can do with what you see in front of you. So once the consumer says they choose their product, they'll get taken to their dashboard. And on that dashboard, there will be a very deep bi-directional two-way integration with the loan origination system. In this particular case, this is the loan number from that particular LOS. Conditions flow back from the LOS. Milestones and status updates will flow back from the loan origination system. That'll drive the next actions and the messaging to the consumer. That'll drive the conditions and the to-dos to the consumers. That'll drive the loan summary bar to the consumers. And finally, that'll drive available loan documents to those consumers, including their pre-qualification letter, credit authorization, and timestamps and their acknowledgement authorizations as well. So from here, it'll continue to sync back as it gets ready for initial disclosures. Consumer will be brought back in. As it gets ready for redisclosures, consumers will get brought back in. As they receive a conditional or a CNI approval or a clear to close, consumer gets brought back in, and through a relationship we have with SnapDocs, one of our great partners, what'll happen is then they can start prepping the hybrid e-close process and pull the consumer into the process, and they can close. And while not close entirely online yet, not in all cases anyway, it's not the norm, but they can certainly do a lot of the hybrid docs online, schedule something with the notary, and close their loan in an effective amount of time. With that said, that is the conclusion of our demonstration. That leaves us a good about 15, 20 minutes for questions. Hannah, I'm going to hand it back over to you so you can share. And if we have any questions, I'm happy to answer that.
Great. Thank you, Tim. We have one question here. Is this a confidential preview or are we able to share this new information with others?
Yeah, great question. It is something that you can share. We're going to be unveiling this just in short week and a half at ICE in the middle of March. So yeah, please do share this information. This is we just want to make sure that the vendor partners that we work with on a day-to-day basis have this information first.
Right. And then in what way can tech vendors leverage BeSmartee's offerings to enhance their business and maintain a competitive edge in today's lending landscape?
Well, so if you're already a integrated vendor partner of ours, you don't have to really do anything. Those integrations will still be supported. We would love to give you a refresh on how things have changed. In case you're the only person at the company, feel free to forward the video that Sabrina will send out after this. If you want a live demonstration, reach out to us. Happy to do that. If you have additional questions, happy to do that. But you're not going to have to do anything. If you're an integrated vendor with BeSmartee, that will remain intact. That said, please do reach out. We want to get to know your team more. We want you to get to know our team more and really see what we can do together in the coming years.
Sorry, no, there's one right here. Can you provide insights into the specific features of the mobile app that differentiate it from existing solutions on the market?
Sure. So the existing solution in the market is a good one. They've really done a really good job. The key differentiators is what we also bring to the table, the trifecta that I talked about earlier. From a pure mobile app perspective, we have the self-serve ability. But when you add on the lifted mortgage point of sale, that's going to lift the experience in your ecosystem. When you add on the automation, BeSmartee always has brought to the table, like what you just saw, the ability to get to the conditional approval 24/7 in the point of sale, any time of day, right? Those are the different value props, all right? We're bringing to the table, we're putting it all under one roof, and as a combined offering, we feel like we're going to really make headwaves at ICE and into the years to come.
All right, I see a few more coming in. Can you elaborate on the potential cost savings or revenue growth opportunities that vendors may realize with Bright POS?
Great question. So as vendors, y'all know we rely on you. We can't deliver this experience without y'all, but we need to really understand how you're selling, who your ICP is. In other words, please again, reiterate it again. Please reach out to us. Let's get acquainted again if we're not acquainted on a regular basis. There's many of you out there that have been invited that don't even know we're integrated to your platforms. For example, if you are a credit vendor working with Meridian Link or Sharper Lending, we're sending you business today. You may not know that, but we are integrated because brokers, loan officers, originators, bankers, banks, right? They're logging in, they're keying your credentials in. We have the pipeline established, and you're receiving orders from us today. So how can you monetize the relationship with BeSmartee? Get close to us is what I would say. Number one, reach out to us. Number two, we have grown because of our vendor partners, plain and simple. Our vendor partners that we're most close with, we refer business to them. We've helped them grow. That's the best way for us to help each other. Is let's get to know each other. Let's exchange notes. Let's find some target clients. Let's look at the market. Let's do some co-marketing together. Let's get the message out there that we can deliver a great solution together to enhance both partners, both vendors' offerings, and at the same time, help our lenders do better in this tough market that we're still in.
And when will this be available? Do we need to request this for our clients or will it be automatically switched?
So for clients, they will receive a new lifted UIX automatically. That's going to be coming in the next quarter. Some of our existing clients will be invited to kind of re-implement where we see that they might be struggling or maybe they over-configured the platform. We're going to take a look at that data. We're going to come back in and we're gonna go ahead and give them that preview and re-implement them, so to speak. Let me just go ahead and stop sharing here for a second. For all new customers of BeSmartee, they're all getting the new base system, right? The Bright and Bright Connect platforms. We sold many of those in the last quarter or so some early customers have got it or starting to get it. So from this moment on forward, pretty much this is what we're selling. All this cool stuff that we have is still there, it's still intact, but this is going to be the prescribed best method. We want to get to know the lender's business. If there's a new, an existing widget or configuration or integration we need to turn on to help solve our lender clients, pain points better, we will make that, recommendation as we learn more about each particular business model.
Great. And then the last question I have here is for the pre-qual letter, can the LO edit the approved amount?
The loan officer can, yes. They can modify the ceiling, the threshold, and then that would enable the real estate agent to increase that threshold to, or increase that loan amount or purchase price to that particular threshold.
Great. That is all we have, Tim.
All right. Well, first and foremost, or last, I just want to say again, thank you very much for being part of the journey with BeSmartee. Every vendor on this call, every vendor has been invited. We're probably integrated. We're integrated about 165. Please reach out to us. We'd love to get to know y'all better. We don't meet on a regular basis. With that said, thank you, everyone. Hope everyone has a great week and hope to see y'all at ICE booth 501 in Las Vegas. Bye-bye, y'all.